Hey, today we're going to discuss the maintenance for a wet ring vacuum pump. The vacuum pump we're going to be using in this tutorial is the Denley's Dual MC201, which is a very common vacuum pump. I'm sure you all have them in your territories. Very simple maintenance on it. If you'll stay with me here for a minute or two, we'll get through it and you'll all be familiar with it. The first thing we want to check is our inches of mercury. To do so, we've got to turn on the pump. When you check the inches of mercury, run both pumps simultaneously. A lot of offices believe in running one pump and alternating pumps on weeks. That's not the way the vacuum pump was designed to operate. The vacuum pump was designed to operate both pumps simultaneously. The doctor's really doing himself a serious disservice if he does not operate both vacuum pumps simultaneously. With both pumps running, we're checking our vacuum pressure with the vacuum valves closed in the operatory. We don't have a valve closed in the operatory. Give me just a second and I'll be right back. You'll have to do this in real life.
The agua.
Now, the second thing we want to make sure is we have adequate water flow. We can do that by turning on our water valve on our angle stop. Now, we're registering 8 inches of mercury, which is very acceptable. The acceptable range is 8 inches of mercury to 12 inches of mercury, never exceeding 12 inches of mercury. 12 inches of mercury should be your standard gauge on all vacuum pumps. Should be the rheostat for all your inches of mercury settings. We're fine. Now we're going to check our vacuum relief valve. The screw is missing out of the vacuum relief valve. There's no way to adjust the vacuum pressure on this machine should we need to adjust. So right off we have a suggestion to the doctor to replace the vacuum relief valve. About a $300 to $400 part. Good sale. Next we're going to check our water flow. To do this quickly, we've installed clear tubings on the exhaust side of the pump. We can actually see the water exhausted through the clear tubing. You can see the water going up through the tubing. The pump will have a high-pitched whine and will run very hot without water. I'm going to illustrate the sound difference to you. Hear the difference in the sound as well as a noticeable drop in your inches of mercury. I'm going to restore the water back. You can actually hear the difference in the pump. Our next items to check are going to be our vacuum breakers. We want to check and make sure that there's no water stains or water leaking out of the vacuum breakers. These are a very high replaceable item. I believe you've all probably got some in stock. If you don't, they're available from us or available from DCI through us. We're going to check both vacuum breakers. They look fine. I don't see any water stains, any calcification, any active leaking whatsoever. Now, let's move on to our next item. Our check valves. To check our check valves, I'm going to turn one motor off. In this case, we have turned off the left motor. We're maintaining 8 inches of mercury. We've jumped back up to alternating between 8 and 10 inches of mercury, which is perfectly acceptable. Next, we're going to turn on the left-hand pump again and turn off the right-hand pump and check our inches of mercury on the left-hand pump. The left-hand pump is slightly weaker than the right-hand pump according to the gauge. Don't let that worry you. You will never find a pump that both pump heads are perfectly equilibrated. They're all going to be a couple inches of mercury variation. turn the pump back on, both motors. We're going to check around the platform, especially around the impeller gaskets, for signs of leakage. We have bleed holes, little actual openings into the impeller. If you see water coming out of the leak holes, that's an indication that the pump needs to be serviced. Probably an impeller seal. We also want to check all of our junctions, all of our plumbing junctions and units, especially our discharge tubing. Our discharge tubing are clear. Our discharge tubings are clear and we have no leaks. Nothing like the human hand on this, guys, to feel for water leaks. You have to be very exact. Look on the platform of the pump housing, the floor, in other words, the chassis, to make sure that you don't have any standing water or water stains. Our next item of maintenance on the pump is going to be to change the solids collector or check the solids collector. Most dental solids collectors are transparent, meaning clear, with a screen on the inside of them. This one looks good, but for illustrative purposes, I'm going to take it off, show you how to take it off and replace it. Guys, wear your gloves for this. There's all kind of nastiness involved with this. Holding the top part of the solids collector, turn counterclockwise just like you're unscrewing. You're actually unscrewing. Be very careful. Pull your screen, your solids collector out as one assembly. There's no debris present. You must physically pull the screen out and check the screen. The screen can get a slime on it and will actually affect chairside suction pressure. Also, make sure that you have the O-ring inside of the solids collector cup, the gasket or the O-ring. You'll have a continual vacuum leak there if you don't. Very simple. Most of these are made now with disposable traps where you leave the screen in and the trap, screw the lid on the trap. Now it's all sealed up and infection controlled. You throw this in the doctor's biohazards bag for special disposal where he throws his operative waste away. Do away with it and put the new solids collector on. For tutorial purposes, we're going to use the same solids collector today. To reinstall the solids collector is exactly the same way. Up under the cup, screen in, gasket in, screw in securely. You don't have to rock down on it. Remember, one of the staff members will be changing this out. So don't tighten it up so much that the poor girl can't untighten it, okay? As we run the pump, we're firing back up again. We want to make sure that our muffler is intact. We have no leaks around our muffler. Take your gloves off, feel, use your tactility. Feel no water leak. For the age of the pump looks good plumbing wise. Now next, we're going to turn the pump off. We're going to power down the pump, meaning disconnect the pump, unplug the pump from the mains, or either flip the circuit breaker and turn the pump off. You must turn the pump off to do this, guys. We're going to remove the low voltage housing. We're going to check our wiring and our contactors. Our power's off. We're going to check our contactors for freedom of movement, sticking, carbonization, soot. Looks good. We're checking for burned wires. We'll lay our hand on the transformer and feel if it's inordinately hot. Everything looks wonderful in here. Most of your maintenance issues with this pump are going to be a water leak. The tubings are not very durable on them, and you will need to replace tubings more often than anything else in this pump. This pump's been on the market for about 30 years now. One of the best. Restore your power. Turn the pump back on. Grab one of the girls, one of the assistants, or the doctor, go to chair side, make sure that they have ample suction. Their suction will probably be improved after your maintenance. Now, for continuing maintenance and advice to the staff, I'm going to recommend that they use a non-sudsing cleaner, the same cleaner as with the Ram Vacs and with a dry vac, a non-sudsing cleaner, to flush their lines from chair side weekly. The best single preventative maintenance of all. Again, I state it's up to you guys to teach these doctors and staff members how to maintain their equipment. In doing so, you'll make yourself an invaluable part of their practice, and you will grow along with their practice business-wise. In closing, water leaks, solids collector, wiring, and vacuum breakers are your big concern. Also, remember what I said earlier. Tell the doctor to run both pumps. Don't let them alternate week to week unless they're just dead set on it. It's best to run both pumps. It keeps them equilibrated, and it gives them maximum suction at chair side, the kind of suction they need for operative dentistry, as well as taking care of wear and tear on the vacuum pump. It equilibrates the wear and tear. Remember, guys, wear your gloves, disconnect your power before sticking your fingers into the low voltage, and be very, very, very attuned to water leaks. As long as you've got a good water supply coming to the machine, a good electrical supply, and the machine's not totally dogged out, you should work well, and it should take maintenance well. Our one indication that we want to talk to the doctor about is a vacuum relief valve. You don't have to put the Dental Ease brand vacuum relief brand in it. You can put an RPI valve if they offer a vacuum relief valve. I know DCI offers vacuum relief valves. You can put a DCI in there. You can call Paul or I, and we'll be happy to assist you and talk you through the retrofitting of the DCI valve onto this. It's not very hard at all. Thank you for your attendance. If you have any further questions, please contact me. Have a good day.